All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
Well, Hal, can you tell us about the work that you're doing now? Because you have taken your gift, you've embraced this gift, you've embraced all of you. Many more aspects of you than you did earlier in life. I'm sure that there's more to uncover still yet.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing and the impact that you're having on people's lives.
Yeah. The work that I do, like I said, it's here how the queen, but it's helping people to embrace their queen or their king. The magic that I do, I'm just like a human MRI. This is why when I started, I said I'm being taken back to the power center. I'm going to the root. I actually kind of like step into people's aura and I get to know every single little thing that is happening to as simple as like one of the craziest things is like feeling and I'm like, what is happening? What is that thing that is like coming from your vagina? Like, I'll stop it. I'm on my period. Okay. So it's what I do.
I was feeling it, so it's something.
Like something is dripping in. I haven't had this feeling with you yet, but what is that? So
Yes.
like that, because all these imprints, the patterns and all that we go through, all these memories, they're stored in the body, So at times we can be talking about, oh, I want a relationship. When I talk about relationship, what part of you in your body is lighting up? For instance, when I'm asking this question, and I'm just dropping in, I'm being led to the pelvic area when I just talk about relationship. I go to the pelvic area and the next thing I'm just going back to the solar plexus. It's kind of like going there and there's fear that comes through. And it's quite interesting because a lot of people want relationship, but at the same time they're afraid or they're in a relationship, but there is also the fear that is there, So I am a human MRI, as in like I scan the body to see what is going on. And psychic surgeon part is where I get to transmute all that so that the real you, like what I call your unique signature blueprint, can emerge. You can embody that, and align with whatever that you need. And I do this through I've developed this 5S framework, like for the past 7 years while I was doing this work. One thing that has been very, very important, like I said, I help people to finally break free from generational imprints. So the first thing is that freedom of individuality, which is what I call soul sovereignty. So I help people to, first thing, we need to disconnect from the ancestral imprints, family, whatever that you're connected to, all those wounds, mother wounds, father wounds, we go into there. What is it that you're holding within you that is not yours? Because the reason why at times people, it's kind of like they feel like they are doing work, but nothing is happening is because I'm like they're working more like I'm working on this lifetime and whatever experiences that you had, and they don't realize the templates that you are creating your life from, because we create life from the templates that we are born into, starting with something as small as your surname. It's the name that has been used for many times. And when you're talking about an identity, who you are, you say your name. When you go and want to prove that it's you coming through with your name and your surname, right? What are the templates, the imprints that have been existing in your ancestral lineages, curses, hexes, and a lot of stuff? So we need to clear those things first so that you can be yourself. And another thing is the soul confidence. Soul confidence, it has something to do with the inner child, because as much as the child was like, children are normally just confident and all that, but there is a lot of exchange that is happening, as in like taking the parents' wounds, exchanging your energy, hoping that you're going to be accepted or loved. You exchange and take what belongs to other people. But the truth of it is you can't heal what is not yours. It doesn't matter what was occupying your parents, whether it's like work, stress, and all that. And even one thing that I find at times is kind of like, oh, but everything was just fine at home, and all that. Because as parents, traditionally, we have this thing of we can't argue in front of the children. It's kind of like you can't argue in front of the children, so we're gonna go to the room and then show up and be like, oh, all lovey-dovey and all that. And I'm not saying argue in front of the children, but it doesn't help. The question is, what is the energy? What is the truth that is here? Are you willing to work on the core of the issues, or you gonna be hiding them in the room because they don't remain there? That's what the child is picking up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they create that life from them, whether they consciously are aware of what is happening or not. So that inner child is also a big part of our vision, and like the destiny that you have. The inner child has that. But if the inner child has been told, shush, you should not be listened to and all that, then that's what's going to happen. So it's a big part of the work that I also do. And at times it's quite interesting because I may be on a call with somebody and I have my plan, like I'm going to ask you these questions. And the moment when I get on a call, it's like the inner child is the first thing that comes through. Sometimes they come through crying where I can't even hold myself. These tears will just come through. But they are the tears that somebody has suppressed and repressed, even though they show up like, I can't remember the last time I cried. I don't cry. But your inner child is crying deep within. There's a lot that is going on inside. And another one is the sexual alchemy, which is like the big part of who we being. And when we're looking at the sexual energy from religious system, cultural, and a lot of stuff, this is the energy that has been evilized. Like it's kind of like you're a sinner and all that. There's just a lot of things around it. Even the whole teachings are around the whole Eve and Adam, especially as women. Then you are the one who spoke to the snake and all that shit. So it was more like to repress that. Like I said, patriarchy shut the man's heart and it shut the woman's womb. So the men are functioning more from just the pelvic area where it's kind of like sex, 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 but we are functioning from the heart, like love, love, love. We want that. We kind of like we're using that love to get kind of like we are giving men sex so that we can get love because we are open from here. Men are open from here. And this is why even when you look at it, men, they are more actionable beings, right? And we don't take action because we are not anchored. We have not put like our pelvic area, our womb area is not connected to the heart. But the men, as much as they can take action, what is missing is also the heart because they are disconnected from here. This is why it's kind of like we need each other. But the truth of it, we have to heal individually so that we can be whole and function from that. And sexual energy is the energy that is connected to our purpose, is connected to our finances, is connected to our creativity, is connected to our beauty and pleasure, right? You cannot fully connect to what. Here's the thing: when you say, I don't know my purpose, the question is, how open are you to this energy? How often are you led by something that inspires you? How often do you follow this energy when you feel that holiness and you ask yourself, what is it that I want to create? Or it's more like, it's been a while. Maybe I should find someone and we can just do something, quickie,
What
whatever.
time? Yes, exactly. Do I have time for that? Is that going to work? Yes.
That's why we're just thinking about this energy, but it's more
Yeah.
the energy of creation. If you know how to direct it, like ground it in and then direct what you need, whatever that you create, and this is what it helps you to be in that flow when you create, where you kind of like forget. But that sweetness is what you're also sharing with the people. The magic is in our sexual energy, because if you are disconnected from this energy, you find that sometimes depression, and interesting enough, even it's quite interesting because when I received this information and I did my research on the internet, I was like, this is mind blowing. Because when I was getting these downloads, I was just advised to say, check what the antidepressant does to the sexual energy. And I was like, huh? So when I checked, I realized that this whole feel good thing, illusion, it's kind of like you want to produce that from the mind, but you're not producing it from the gut, from the body as it's meant to be. So people who are taking these antidepressants, then they are struggling still with that sexual energy because somehow this causes a disruption and all that. So it's magical when you work on it at its core and you realize you don't even need that. You because it's the energy that it produces more. Like I said, wherever that you're using it, it multiplies. If at all you are stuck in toxic relationships, guess what? You're gonna see a lot of that. So where are you using it? So that's the magic. And another thing is there's soul embodiment, which is more like coming back to the body and connecting to that body and releasing shame, because we have been like we connect to our body more from the third person perspective. Like, do you love how I look and all that? We don't connect with ourselves. Even if I can go back to the sexual activity, which is there's a lot of it, but there is no sensuality. When I go even back to the activity, we often kind of like I want somebody to satisfy me, make love with me, make me have an amazing orgasm, and you don't even know what you like. Why do you
Mhm.
like to be touched? How often are you connecting to your body? And it's quite interesting because one of the mornings I just woke up and I love to tune in my body. First thing I'm thinking about the dreams that I had, or I just tune into my body and see how I'm feeling, what is going on. So one of the mornings I just woke up and I was just driven to my breast. I started touching my breast and it's kind of like they were just calling me. And I just received this message of the magic that is here in our breast, because our breast is kind of like a doorway to our heart. Even a man who gets to be with you and they kind of like first thing is kind of like, can you connect to a woman's heart even through those breasts, just playing, loving them and all that, which helps a woman for a woman's heart to open, instead of like just going to, I want to penetrate and all that. And again, speaking of the body, like I said, the breasts are connected to the heart. This is why even when you look at the wie sagt man, cancer, wie sagt man, is like, what do you call it in German? When you look at cancer and all that, where people who have been in toxic relationship and a lot of stuff, often it ends up manifesting as a disease like cancer and all that. Like it's more like heartache and a lot of stuff, So the breast is a big part of our being. How often do you give yourself time to connect to your body? There is something that just came through, but somehow I kicked it out. Maybe it will come to, oh yeah, coming back to the body and also the sexual energy. When we're talking about sexual abuse, because like this is like one of the things that when there has been sexual abuse, first thing that registered in my body when I connect to somebody, I can just tell that, oh, this person was sexually abused. And often I find that most people don't talk. It's kind of like a secret that they hold. And then now imagine going through life like holding into that secret. Yeah, you don't leave, you don't get to create anything, right?
Yeah.
And we may talk about that big thing as in sexual abuse. And you know where the most of the trauma happens. It happens with our partners, with our husbands, where you just allow somebody to penetrate you, but your body's not ready.
Mm.
But you feel like if I don't give him what he wants, maybe he'll go cheat or have it somewhere else. And eventually our body becomes numb because we don't listen to it. And it's quite interesting because as I'm speaking about it, I'm getting that like the solar plexus is lighting up. It's just what it is. You're giving away your power. You are not in your power, right? So it affects the body. It causes that constriction, and it's gonna affect what you create. Even sexual energy. Just talking about that. This is like the energy that when you look at the darkness part of it, even what we see happening, whether it's just like churches that are flaunting the whole church thing and Jesus, what, but yeah, in the background, there's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of using girls and all that, sleeping with them. There's a lot of sexual trafficking. Why is this thing something that is like ongoing and it's kind of like it's a big business at the same time? Sexual energy is the highest currency. So when you're just using it for the sake of using it, you don't know what you're opening yourself to. And even when it comes to entities, especially whether it's sexual abuse, but it's kind of like it's a doorway to these dark entities. You understand? This is why at times when someone maybe has been sexually abused, besides that thoughts being low and all that, there's also some attachment. Like when I work with a lot of people, I get to remove these attachments because yeah, it's kind of like open a door for dark entities, and even that thoughts now they are not even theirs, and a lot of stuff that is happening, and I talk about intimacy, which is more like also basically embodying that and making love with this or making love with life, because I believe we are here to make love with life. So when it's like a lot of people, we find that they're in relationships, but it's just stale, sometimes it's kind of like they're even beyond being just kind of like I don't know, friends or more like siblings kind of relationship and all that. What is
Mhm.
happening right there? It's something that needs to be worked on. And we have a lie actually that, oh, with time, that's just what happens in relationships. Or as time goes along, you don't even have sex, it's fine. That's totally a lie. Why is it that in other areas of our lives, we expect that when we grow and evolve, then we have acquired lots of wisdom. But when it comes to sex, it's kind of like it's something that has to die off. Where are these beliefs
Exactly.
coming
Put
from?
the lid on it, put that away. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's not how it
Mhm.
has to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and you touch on it, but I think another piece of that is like the creation that comes out of that same energy, right? Like but
Absolutely.
we've been separated from that, and it's beyond like actual life creation. Like all creation comes out of that same
Yeah.
energy.
It's not just to have sex and have a child, which is was like it was limited to the procreation, but it's
Yeah.
more even like for instance, I always give an example with just me. I never liked to cook, but I think it was more like a rebellious thing of like a woman, you have to cook for men or whatever. I never liked it. I love the man when a man is cooking for me. It's kind of like, that turns me on. But somehow, when it comes to doing this work and opening up to this magic, I love cooking because it's still part
Mm.
of that which nurtures me. It's still my energy, just that love that I put in it. You understand? So it's something that comes through, and even at times, here's the thing. I worked with this other woman, I think she was 62 years old. She was first thing she saw her mom being sexually abused at 9, and then at 12 years, like the mom couldn't deal with it. She went, started doing drugs. And then at 12 years, she was also sexually abused. And the only way was to do drugs because that's what she saw her mama doing, right?
Mhm.
So she attended one of my master classes. My master classes, actually, I'm gonna share the tea tree, what I normally call this tea tree. What do you call it? The tree link, whatever.
That's the link.
Oh,
Yes.
like the family tree. What is
No,
it? Tea tree?
where there are links for like some offers and all that.
Oh, is it linked? Like, hold on.
Link tree,
Is LinkedIn? Yes.
link tree, where there's some links. So I'll share the link, that link, and there's some offers. Then I was doing this.
Perfect. We'll put it on our show. We'll put it
Yeah,
on our show notes. Yes. Okay.
I was doing this master class that it was 3 days, and there was a part of as well where I was doing a healing on sexual energy and all that. She attended that, and at first she was just like, I'm very uncomfortable, especially when you go to the sexual energy part. So I just invited her to lean on that discomfort, and we did the work. And at the end, she shared excited. She said, "Oh my God, for the first time, I connected with my inner child," and she was smiling. And afterwards, like the following day or just a few days after, she wrote a poem, and now she's actually planning on releasing her book poem, and that opened up just from healing that energy in that session. And one of the things that also she shared was just that I used to run from one healer to the other. So she kind of like it was like now she left the drugs, but now she's more like addicted to healers and more codependency, kind of like, not getting anywhere. And she said, since I did that session with you, I don't feel that I'm just being with myself. And she just shared how she's started noticing things that she didn't notice before, the beauty that is around her. And another thing, like one lady that I work with who somehow she lost her job, somethings happened, and she came to me. When she came to me, I just told her that because she said, how I don't need a lot of things, I need money. And I'm like, the first thing that registered was like her father, her and her father relationship. Was like, you need to work on a relationship with your father because your father is your money. And it's like, oh no, that's not going to happen, not in this lifetime. So we dove deep as well, and only to realize that the father was more like a breadwinner, and he was also mistreating the mother. And part of this little girl felt like, I want to protect my mother from this bastard. And she hated everything that has to do with the father. And that also somehow created this problem with the money issue, even the relationship that she had, which ended up leading to her losing her job, right? So we worked together. And after that 12 weeks, there was a lot of stuff like the inner child and a lot of stuff. She was actually one of the people who said, I stopped crying because I felt like people think that they can take advantage of you, whether they hate you or beat you or whatever. So you have to cry. So I was like, I'm not going to give them that satisfaction of them seeing me crying. But deep within, it was like crazy. So we worked. And after that 12 weeks, somebody just called her husband and said, we need somebody who's got the skills. And he said, my wife can do that. And she didn't even develop, like modify her CV or anything. She just sent it as it is. And they called her and they said, actually, we don't want you as an employee. We want you as a consultant. She said, how this is what I wanted, and they offered her 90K. And it was like 7 fucking years without working. And then I step in and I getting so big and all that. So there's just a lot of magical stuff that happens. And even with this woman, like I said, her relationship was fine in the sense of she was holding me back. I mean, she was holding back despite the 10 plus years where it was more like the husband is the one who is chasing her, and she never opened up because she still had the fear of, if I show this man that I really love him, then this man might treat me like my
Mhm.
father
How
treated
I
my mom.
witnessed my father treat
Mm.
my
And
mom.
what happened even
Yeah.
with her body after the mother passed on, like she started developing a lot of physical ailments that was coming from the mother. It's kind of like, as a child, you want to protect your mother. When I say you transfer your energy. So she took a lot of her stuff. When you care for your mother so much, you want them to be better, you want them to be treated differently. You don't realize it, but you are kind of like exchanging your energy with them, and you take that pain, hoping that when I remove this, it's gonna lighten your load. Maybe there's gonna be a bit of space for me. So these are the things that we also clear. There's just a lot of stuff I can't even name it. Even this morning, I received a message from someone that said, how you can't believe it. Someone who owed me from 2020. I have even given up about that. This person sent me a message and said that she's gonna pay me. It's like, this is crazy. So it's like magical stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's interesting that you say that. Pam and I actually had that conversation about some outstanding invoices before we even started this podcast today. So it's there you go. From 2020, they called and
Yeah.
said, I'm ready to pay you.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. It is magical. It is
It
magical in
is.
every area of life.
It
Wow.
is. And then that's just it. Because when it comes to, like I said, when we are not open to that, because even when I'm talking about vulnerability, right? And I want to talk about intimacy, I always talk about that principle of being honest. Are we honest with ourselves? Are we honest with what we want? Because there's at times, even when it comes to what we desire, it's kind of like, yeah, I want 100,000, but you do what you do, you know that you are doing a business. Kind of like, I caught myself like some years back. I caught myself where like a lot of people were sending me their testimonials about money, but I was not comfortable sharing the money
Mm.
part of the outcome that they were receiving. I was like, even though the people are receiving money, this is not important to me. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where is this coming from?
That's
Sometimes it's
it.
like that. I'm passionate about what I do, because it changes people's life. But money is not a big factor. Hello, are you surprised when you're struggling? You understand? So it's like all those things, there's like small things that are always telling us where we at. There's nothing wrong with being passionate and impacting people's life and also being paid for your brilliance.
Absolutely.
That's it.
I love it. All
Being
right.
paid for your brilliance.
Yeah.
Oh, love that.
I love it.
Well,
Amazing.
we will make sure that we add all of your contact information to the show notes as well. But what advice would you have for our listeners? Something that we have not touched on today that you're feeling led to share with our listeners.
What have you not touched on that? One thing that is actually coming more in the forefront, like I've mentioned it a bit to say that emotions are the evidence of life. And here's the thing, when I talk about being honest with ourselves, being open, where are we not connecting to that? It's quite interesting because I'm speaking, but there's other information is coming through, and I didn't intend to go there, but it's kind of like talk about
Then
death.
let's go there. That's it.
It's quite interesting because I was given this death acronym, and I was just laughing when this came through. I was like, oh, please, you fucking kidding me. You want me to go around and talk about death? Heck yes. So death is like the important part of our beingness, and for us to be who we truly are, we get to be comfortable with letting who we are not to die. And often we want to resurrect an old version of us. We want to resurrect everything that was. And this is where we get stuck. The resistance at times is coming from this. And often this is where, this is what is holding many people back. So, how do we feel about death? Just allowing whatever that is, to just die. Whatever that is, we know at times it's a relationship that has long lived its time, a marriage that has long lived its time. Like I said, I was married for, 5 years. It's kind of like it's nothing, but that was like many lifetimes, especially if you're in a relationship that is sucking life out of you, And one other thing that also, like for me, that was important was I had a choice. Am I gonna choose to sustain the marriage at the expense of myself,
Yeah.
or am I gonna choose me? Because even when like my ex-husband was totally against what I do. Like he bought me some books like, oh, God is just like a fantasy, kind of like his words were like, I wish I can meet. I wish I can connect with the person that I met, the intelligent you. So the accountant version of myself and all, it was like more the intelligent. This aspect of myself is kind of like, just like, I don't know who the fuck you are, like you're just dumb and all that, and I had a choice. Am I going to listen to my truth or to his truth? Because at times we think that we are living our lives and all that, but are we in alignment with our truth, or the truth that we're born into, or the truth of our partners? I'm just gonna go there. At times, family, because who you are and what you're here to be, do, and have may be totally different from what your family expect or what they had. Are we willing to listen to that? So going back to the death, I was given this to say, healing the death of the feminine. And this is not the feminism like for us women, is that creation part of ourselves, is that also the chaos, the uncertainty, just basically the ocean. As we know, there is magic in that happens in the ocean. So embracing this part of ourselves, and this death, what it stands for, the D stands for desires. For you to connect to your soul desires, first thing you have to die, then go back to connect to your desires. What is it that you truly desire? What turns you on? What is it that is calling you or pulling you towards it, right? Not waiting for things to collapse and then you creating from desperation. Because when you're creating because you're running away from something, guess what? You're going to keep on creating the same thing. You're going to find something again to be desperate from and all that and all that. It's not inspiring. It's not expansive. And another thing is the emotions. Like I said, emotions are the evidence of life. So if you deny your emotions, you are denying life. You've got nothing to show at the end of the day, because whatever that we do and whoever that we being, at the end of the day, is not about what I had, it's how I felt and how I made other people feel. That's the magic. And the EAGEA, A is the alignment, being in alignment with what is true for us. That is the truth, in alignment with our truth, and also having that trust in whatever that is being called to be born through us. In the age, guess what? That's your heaven or hell. So if you deny your emotions, you deny your soul desires, you are not in alignment with your truth, you're going to live in hell. There is no hell that is going to happen afterwards. The hell is what we're experiencing right now. But the question is, how much of us are we making love to? How much of us are we accepting? How much of us are we allowing, like I said, how much of you are you allowing your soul to express through you, to give birth through you? Or you turning around it, still holding into the beliefs that you were born into?
Yeah. Wow.
Incredible.
Wow.
And
Well,
just going back into that thing that I wanted to say in the beginning before I was led to the death, the truth of it is, you know what is true for you.
yeah.
You know how you wake up every day. You know how you go to bed. You know when you wake up, like in the 3 a.m.s and all that. Because I would say that the marker, or something that makes us determine, am I in the right place? Am I being me? The level that we are fully free, it's like freedom. How free are you? Like when you are with Pam and Natalie, you together and you share everything with yourself, but then when we are with other people, you feel like I get to be this version. And then you know that something is not right, right? How free are you to be you? How free are you to share your truth, right? The level that you are free is the level that you are not fully joyful. We know it. And that is the level that you are not fully loving. So we should stop lying and saying, but I love this person. Does that person know who the fuck you are? Or you just showing the part of you that you want them to accept, which is what I call manipulation. At times the wounds are guiding us, because the wound is always looking for the light. At times the wounds are always guiding us to somebody who's gonna trigger that and not give us whatever that we hoped we're gonna get. I'm gonna get love from maybe my partner, like in my case, I was hoping I'll get love from my ex-husband, but I found a version of my father that was addicted to alcohol. And as much as I wanted to hold on and maybe he's gonna change, maybe he will be whatever that I imagined to be. At the end of the day, when I was asked what part of you has a problem with his drinking, how, and I was like, what kind of question is that? Because in my head, it's kind of like, we know that drinking is not good, and I'm the spiritual person, so I'm better than. So I was like, what part of you has a problem with his drinking? And I just had this download that my inner child is attracting people with alcohol addiction, because deep within me, I still want my father. And I'm hoping that I'm gonna, like, something like I want to rescue my father through this man, and maybe they will love me when I rescued them. So I'm willing to see these things. And when we say somebody does not accept who I am, ask yourself, am I accepting who they are? That is for you if you love to fall in love with potential. Because when you are in love with the potential of who they could be, guess what? You don't fucking love those people. You love a version
Exactly.
of them that has not been unleashed yet.
Yeah.
And at times we project our own potential even.
And it may never be released in this lifetime, right? We may never see that version in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Those two huge parts. And I'm glad that you didn't skip the death piece, because I think that's a powerful piece, right? Like being able to be at peace with the version of you and letting that die, that version of you that's not authentically, genuinely you. Can you release that and let that piece die off?
Yeah. Letting it go.
Sometimes
Wow.
it can be the one with roles, labels, positions. You know how it is at times. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't know
Oh,
who I
yeah.
am. I'm married. You know how I am. And all that.
Yeah.
If you let all of that go, who is remaining? Who are you without all that?
Mm.
Full circle.
Who are you without all of fill in the blank?
Stuff. Yeah, whatever it is.
Ah,
Thank you so much. This was
powerful.
very, very powerful and incredible,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
grateful for you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for tapping into your gift and sharing it with the world. Thank you for the work that you're doing and coming on the show and sharing it with our listeners. We really appreciate it.
I had a great time, and I hope they all have a great time as well. And the last thing that I can just say, add up into that, is that stop holding into information. Information is not transformation. Jump on the call or take one of the whatever offers that is given and do something. Take action, invest in yourself, time and money. Say yes to yourself. We often say yes to everybody, but not ourselves. What
That's
happens
it.
that we're saying yes to yourself more often? Every time when you say no, ask yourself, am I saying no to myself? And when you say yes, am I saying yes to myself or not? It's quite interesting because I did this short video just before I jumped in here on YouTube about the breaking the avoidance. At times it's just like that. You say yes because I want to make Natalie or Pamela happy, but at the end of the day, I'm like, why did I agree to this? Why did I do you're every time you're betraying yourself when you say yes to somebody and no to yourself. So ask yourself, how would you feel if somebody was doing that to you? Because now you're doing that to yourself, but it
Yeah.
may feel like it's just okay because I want to do. And even when you're talking about making love to life, when I say yes fully and I say I'm gonna be here and I show up, I'm happy, I'm making love with the energy and everything. It's also looking at it both sides. It's not just like I'm gonna be present. Are you gonna be fully present in your magnificent and share yourself with the world? What version of you are they gonna get? The version that feels like I just have to honor the invite. Yet this moment I wanted to be, whether crying myself to sleep or just watching a movie or whatever and being fucking lazy and just be okay with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Be okay with it.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you so, so much. For our listeners, we will make sure to put Gao's contact information in the show notes so that you can connect with her, learn more about her work. And then, as usual, if you are interested in learning about what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, head on over to reigniteresilience.com, or you can check out our Instagram and Facebook page. Gao, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been a pleasure. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.